sake, I can still speak English. Yeah. I said to Stefan, yeah, you know, there's much to be said about an individual, but for those who have known them or who have been in the sphere mm-hmm. with them for quite some time, you could tell if someone is acting in their true nature or not. So I said, the Wendy that we might see as a political commentator, the Wendy that we might see, you know, on Real Housewives of Potomac, is that really Wendy? Is that the Wendy you remember? What do you think he said?
Yes.
What you see is what you get. Like,
that's me. That's me.
I've never known Wendy to hold her tongue. I've never known, like, she just gives it to you straight on. But endearing at the same time too, you know, like she's gonna be there, hold you down, to support. But at the same time, you know, you gotta come correct when you're around Wendy.
There you go. You see, and that means a lot. That's coming for someone. Imagine someone that has known you since you were 18, right? Like, we're old. My birthday is this Saturday. Someone that's known you since you were 18 years old, and they're able to watch you on TV and say, you know what, that's actually her. That means a lot, because some people get on these platforms and reinvent themselves, and they become new people, and they do new things and tricks and da-da-da. No, like, this is who I am.
And I also said, you know, the only difference is you're just flyer. You know, you just leveled up. That's it. Wendy's
the checks have cleared. The checks have cleared.
Dr. Wendy, because there's much to be said about what some may call leveling up, or what others might say is upward mobility and trajectory, which is what we want to see in our community, right? So what is the difference between she's acting brand new and upward mobility, especially as you see it today, now that there's more of a spotlight on you, there's more critique? How have you thought about this issue as you've continued to rise in the public sphere?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, so it's twofold, right? Because at the end of the day, there is the whole nuance of being on a public platform. And once you're on a public platform, whether you like it or not, you are critiqued at a level that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, right? Mm-hmm. Anything you do in life has its positives and its negatives. And I'm not complaining. We have a beautiful opportunity to be on a public platform. However, it does come with a downside, and that downside is the critique of millions of people. But I do feel
Oop, we just lost your sound, Dr. Wendy.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. Sorry, I had a call coming in. Outside of the show, I am also a career woman. So I have experienced upward mobility because I have been able to grow in my career as a commentator, grow in my career as a professor, grow in my career as a public speaker. And with those things comes natural upward mobility, because you are growing and you are, you know, in a sense, revolutionizing yourself, right? But I do think that it's twofold. For me, it's upward mobility in my career, but also being in the public spotlight, you do sort of level up a little bit. Let's say back in the day, I got my hair done once every month. Now me and my hairstylist are best friends. I see her once every two weeks. You know, I can't have her hair out of place. I would be remiss, and I'll be lying if I say that those things don't come into play. But I think that what's really important is at your core. The people who know you, the people who you love, and the people who you support, and people who support you, they can still know who you are. And that's what I appreciate, is at the end of the day, I'm still Wen, you know. People may have their thoughts about me, or they may have their critiques about me, but my inner circle has never changed. And there's beauty in that. There's beauty in leveling up and having upward mobility, but you do it with the same people who were with you when you had nothing. That's powerful.
That is powerful.
Because sometimes as your circle changes, the circles you're within changes. For me, my social circle has remained the same, and I value that.
Ooh, I love that. But do you feel as you are elevating, and I speak to lots of entrepreneurs, which you are also an entrepreneur, who talk about the challenge of people understanding what it is to walk in their shoes. You know, what it means. People might be like, oh, look at Dr. Wendy, she's on TV, she's getting her hair done every day. But they may not know the stresses. They may not know, you know, your schedule, what time you're waking up to, you know, what time you're going to bed. And you're a mom of 3. Okay, you are also a wife, and you are also an individual who's also growing and evolving on her own. So could you talk a little bit about, does everyone in your inner circle understand your challenge and what it means to level up? And for those who are looking for whether it's upward mobility in their career, in the office, what did you have to give up to do that?
You know, there's this saying that goes, I think, is it the Marines that use it? I'm not sure, but it's a saying that says, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in my life, it's like everyone wants to, you know, a lot of people want the platform, they want the spotlight, they want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't know what it takes to do that. And for me, what it has taken to do that is me sacrificing myself. I'm telling you, I had a rough 24 hours, you know, past weekend, because I literally just had an emergency room visit. I was just in the hospital. I put undue stress on myself to the point that it can physically make me sick. And for me to achieve what I achieved, there's lots of restless nights. There's lots of times where I could look up at 5 o'clock and say to myself, wait, you haven't eaten anything. You know, I put everything and everyone in front of me because, like you said, I'm a mom of 3, and my children are at the age where they don't necessarily fend for themselves. I have 9, 7, and almost 3-year-old. They don't, you know, they're not in the kitchen cooking dinner. I am. So I say that to say, you know, people often do see what you've achieved, and even you guys, you know, I can only imagine what you guys have sacrificed to get to where you are. People see it. People say, oh, that's cool. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, I want to do that. Okay. Are you willing to do what it takes to do that? Because this doesn't come easy. None of this comes easy. And then the other part of it that I think some people never speak of is, it's one thing to achieve something. It's another thing to sustain it.
Now, go ahead and preach. Where's my handkerchief?
Come on. Because let me tell you something. You can achieve a milestone. You can start a business. You can launch a business. You can get on TV. Now it's really game time. What do you do to continue to stay there? And then that's when you really see, you know, the boys from the men, so to speak, when you start separating people, because it's hard. So yes, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, that a lot of people don't understand it. They clap for it. They think it's great, but you can't walk a mile in my shoe.
Yeah,
you can't.
It's funny. That was a great question, because I remember, you know, I watch, you know, the series is a nice little guilty pleasure of mine. You know, help me de-stress.
At this point, it shouldn't be a guilty
It's
pleasure.
not. You're right.
It's just a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. There you go. And I think when I saw the episode of you starting the home decor and the candle business, and I was like, I shot you a message. I was like, yo, hit me up, because heavy is the crown. 1, you're crazy. 2, I know exactly what you're about to go through, because again, packaged goods, CPG, just, you know, a lot of people don't know the details that goes into essentially just getting to the point of launch. And I was like, all right, you're getting ready for a journey. You thought Real Housewives was bad. Get ready for this journey.
Gosh, it's a journey. It's a journey that no one, you know, like it's like no one tells you about. Like it's one of those things that only people who have experienced it can really understand it. So I'm going to use another analogy, Stefan. You'll vibe with me. It's sort of like joining a sorority or fraternity, right? We all have things that happen. At the end of the day, until you go through it, you don't know.
You don't know. So you're on the other side. It's like, oh.
Yeah, until you're on the other side. So it's been really challenging, but there's been beauty in the process as well, because I feel like I've grown as a person. I've grown as a woman through the process, but it's not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart at all. It's not. Like I didn't know people would buy my candles all the way in Alaska. I didn't calculate that shipping cost. I didn't know what that should be. I'm thinking, okay, I got New Jersey, I got California,
right.
but I know this. Out of nowhere, someone from Alaska buys like my 4-wick candle. Oh my God, how am I about to ship this to Alaska? I don't know, but you gotta figure it out. So
you do have to figure it out. And we often tell people, you know, if you want behind the scenes of who Creole Essence is and who we are as founders, we are supposed to watch our Shark Tank episode because I think it captures our beginning, the fight that we had, you know, not even just in the Shark Tank, but prior to being on the episode where we talk about, you know, not having enough product, figuring out the supply chain. How do we get Haitian castor oil or Haitian moringa to our customer base? How do we make sure the website is working? And you alluded to the shipping, the logistics of it all, and all the way to being on Ulta shelves, which people are like, yes, this is exciting. Look at what it means to not only have a black people, to have a woman, to have, you know, a country that most people don't really know positive things about, to have it represented on shelves. Right. But this idea of understanding the sacrifices that it takes to get there is something that sometimes people miss. And I know it's easier for us to put the positive reels, right? When we're at Ulta and we're holding the bottle.
But I think that's the culture too, though. Like, we come from that culture where we don't talk about our struggles. We don't talk about the behind the scenes. It's all about, okay, hey, here's me doing well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there is a way for you to capture those tough moments? And is that even something you think about? Like, I want my tribe or my audience to understand the challenges, and can I capture it in the same way I can capture it if I am on, you know, the red carpet, or when I'm doing things that are positive and easier, it feels like, to go ahead and snap a pic?
Well, I will say stay tuned for season 7 of Real Housewives of Potomac.
Ready.
Because you guys get some inside scoop into some of the challenges, like my personal challenges. But you know, I think it's true. I think that as a society, or maybe just our generation, we glorify the booked and busy culture, right? Like, it's all about being booked and busy. Hello, I'm so booked, I'm so busy, and I'm so tired. People need to put that as a disclaimer. I'm so booked, I'm so busy, and I'm so tired. But the thing is, you know, I think that it's really important for people to capture not just the wins, but also the losses. Because if you only show the wins, for people who come after you, they won't have anyone to say, well, did they experience this too? I think sometimes we think that winning is what's relatable. That's not true. Sometimes the struggle is more relatable than the wins, because we've all struggled. I struggle every day. I'm struggling right now. As y'all can see, I'm here talking to y'all, no makeup. I have on the t-shirt. My daughter's downstairs.
You're looking great. This is the no makeup look.
Listen, y'all got the no makeup, no nothing. Like, not a drop.
Sammy, that's what you're getting here.
Not a drop of concealer. That's what y'all got today. And so, you know, the struggle is really a part of the process. It's like you can write your story, but if you don't mention the struggle, you're missing a key ingredient, because it's not just about the struggle. It's about how the struggle changes your mindset. It's about how the struggle makes you really think, is this what I really want to do? Because if you face struggle and it's something that you're like, you know what, I don't want to deal with this anymore, then you can walk away. But if in the face of adversity, you're still saying, no, I'm going to press on, that's a testament to you. That's a testament to your business. That's a testament to what you're trying to put out there, that you believe in it so much that even when you face adversity, you're still willing to push on. And I think that's amazing.
Shun not the struggle, for it is God's gift.
Hello?
Right, Gerald? Just saw my line brother hop on.
Dr. Wendy, speaking of struggle and achievement, you're Nigerian, we're Haitian. Our families put capital emphasis on education.
Wait, what are the careers? Doctor, engineer, lawyer.
That's it. The Holy Trinity.
You can be a nurse too.
Yeah.
That's not it. All right. So you are highly accomplished, 4 degrees, and there was much to be said on the show about your degrees, right? So for you, when we talk about what our culture emphasizes versus what we emphasize, and you talked about that you're evolving as a woman, do you define yourself based on your degrees? Partially, not at all? Or is that just something people should just notice and be proud of, but that's not who defined you? Talk to us about who you are in relation to your degrees.
I don't think my degrees define me, but I think my degrees are a component of me. Mm-hmm. I'm more than my degrees. However, you know, we talked about a little bit about like struggle and all of that stuff. You know, each of my degrees, I faced a monumental time in my life. So it's part of who I am. I defended my dissertation pregnant with my second son, Cruz. Wow. You know, like my belly was big to the point that they told me, do you want to sit down? I was like, no, I'm about to defend the hell out of this dissertation with this belly, and y'all gonna get all of it. So no, I'm not gonna sit down. So I stood up in my 6-inch heels, heavily pregnant, for an hour and a half. And I'm gonna tell all y'all about yourselves because y'all got me angry. So I defended the hell out of that dissertation. But my degrees don't define me, but it is a part of who I am. And like what I said, I think it was my first season there, addressed me correctly. I feel like a lot of times when it comes to women of color, they don't put respect on our names. Yeah. Like my thing is, for instance, when I walk into a classroom, my students will look around and they'll say, oh, where's the professor? And I'm looking around like, girl, I don't know, where is the professor? But but you see, and then another thing that they love to do is they'll call me Wendy. Mm-hmm. But they'll call my colleagues Dr. So-and-so. Right. No, you're going to put respect on my name because I worked hard, if not harder, for my degree. Because just like with Ketanji Brown Jackson, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and people are trying to say, oh, she got that position because she's Black. No, she worked twice as hard to even get to that position because she's Black. She's Black. When you see a Black woman, a Black man, people of color, immigrants achieve a certain level of success, understand that they work twice as hard to get that than their white counterparts. Exactly. I mean, even in business, if you walk into a room looking for angel investors, oftentimes they may look at your skin complexion and be like, I may pass. So I say that to say my degrees do not define me, but you will respect me because I worked hard as hell to get that. Yes. And so, you know, in our culture, I talk about this in my book that's coming out in September. I talk about how as immigrants, our parents often push us into certain fields because they work so hard to get here, and they just want to make sure that we have a career that doesn't have us struggling like they did. Right. So I understand the method behind the madness. I do, and I respect it. But I also think it's so beautiful to see a new crop of children of immigrants or second generation immigrants who are now writing their own path and doing their own thing. I think that there's beauty in that.
But with that, I think that's beautiful what you said. And that leads me to a thought with you as a second generation immigrant. Now that you have kids, what are the parts of your culture that you're going to retain? And what parts are you going to, I don't want to say discard, but not necessarily.
She's not teaching them how to cook at 9 years old. I heard that.
What are you going to teach, Dr. Wendy? And what are you going to change now that you've seen both sides?
You know what? My book, Tears of My Mother, the story of my Nigerian heritage, talks about this, like details this. But it's so funny because I found myself saying that my daughter is going to be a dentist. Like I wrote it in the trust. Like we have a trust. And I wrote that if she's not a dentist, X, Y, and Z will happen. She'll lose her inheritance. And I know, right? I had to take a step back and I'm like, oh my God, Wendy, you are your mother. What am I doing? So, you know, we talk about that a little bit in the season, but I say that to say, I'm not pointing fingers either because I understand how sometimes when you're raised a certain way, it's hard to break that cycle that you have been patterned against. Nope. But I think for myself and my husband, we're really big on allowing our children to forge their own path in a way, right? Like my son, one of my sons, my middle son, he says he wants to be an artist. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I'll come to your art shows. If I told my mom I want to be an artist, she'd be like, artist?
She would have fallen out. Fell out and she might beat you.
I watched this. She would beat me for even saying I want to be an artist. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So just the ability to allow the next generation to dream. I think there's beauty in that. Just allowing them to dream about what they want to do is something that my husband and I are actively working on. Just letting them be and to dream.
Yeah. And we often don't allow ourselves or those in our lives that opportunity to dream because we're filled with fear about the future. We're filled with fear about what is going to come of, those that we love. And it does take us a huge step back to realize, we need to unlearn some of the things that came from love, that came from a different time and place, right, but it's not going to serve those coming in the way that it did.
Remember, they were surviving. They were survivor's mindset. And, now because of their sacrifices, we have the ability and the opportunity to thrive. So
yes. And Dr. Wendy, would you say that being on the show has also given you the ability and the freedom to evolve as an individual? And I love that you talk about what's beautiful. I also think it's beautiful when someone is evolving and becoming more and more of themselves, but that's often a challenge for others to see. So there's lots to be said about happy. There's lots to be said, the girls, there's lots to be said about your evolution. So can you talk about your evolution physically, but also mentally as a woman and as an individual?
Yeah, I think evolution and growth and transformation is one of the most beautiful things we can do as people, and especially as women. For me, I was coming into my own. I just had my third child, and it's weird because I feel like I never really got the chance just to be a woman independent of motherhood. I got married, and here's something that nobody knows. My gift to my husband on our 1-year anniversary was a pregnancy test that we were expecting our first child. So the reason I say that is I literally jumped from one thing to another. I never just got to be Wendy. So after having my children, and you can see the order that they're in is literally almost back to back. And if you factor in nursing them, it's like you never stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm done having kids. I just want to be this woman independent of everything else. And you guys saw that play out on TV. Now, given the fact that we're on reality TV, nothing is often taken in a positive way. There's often a negative spin to it. So it's, she's doing that because of this. When the truth is, you guys were just watching a woman who got married young, right? I got engaged like on my 26th birthday.
Wow.
And I've never gotten to just be Wendy. And so I was like, I want to do for me. So yes, my plastic surgery was the first thing I've ever done for me. And I love it. It's still single-handedly one of the best things I've ever done for myself. And I think that transformation, even as I look back on it, with all of the negativity that some people put on it, I still think it was beautiful for me just to watch me be myself. And my husband was saying something to me the other day, and I remember one line I said last season when one of my castmates said, "You were sexy last year." And I said to her, I define my sexy, not you.
That's it. Yes.
And that comment right there solidifies everything I felt, every way I wanted to show myself, and everything I will want my daughter to take away from watching that season when she's old enough to watch it, is that you don't let anyone or anything define you. You define yourself. And you have to be comfortable with that. And even though, again, I may have gotten backlash for it, I'm okay with that because I define myself. And now Happy and Ness, I'm used to them, so I'm wearing t-shirts now. I'm not wearing stuff. They got them falling out.
They're chilling. All
right. I'm used to it now, so it's a different thing. But I'm just glad I got that moment just to enjoy it, and I did.
Right, and that you said something really important, which is that you were experiencing what hundreds and thousands of women do every day.
You just decided to act on it. Like you did something.
Not only that, but we're getting to see it on TV,
right,
which is the difference. but there are plenty of women who are going through that same evolution. So for all the backlash, there's also a group of women who's saying, yes, it's okay for me to be me. It's okay for me to evolve. It's okay for me to take care of myself. And
it's like me and my motorcycle.
You and your motorcycle. Well,
oh God, not motorcycle.
Stefan. That is not the same thing, but okay. Put that to the side. But you need that opportunity to do things for yourself, and it's important to have a partner who celebrates that and who supports it and who's not threatened about it.
There you go.
When you think about what makes your husband special, and there's much to be said about husbands and partners when you're on TV, what solidifies you and your husband's relationship, and what has kept you guys tight during the ebbs and flows of TV? Because it's going to have an impact with all this chatter.
You know, I think what makes us so solid is like, that's my homie, like that's my partner, like we are, you know, like one day he looked at me and he said, you know what, I like you. And I said, I like you too.
He said that to me every now and again too. I just realized that, like, dude, it's been 15 years. I hope you like me.
I think it's so important. People, and I don't know if people understand what that means. It's like sometimes people are married, but they don't like each other. They don't like each other. Like they don't want to be around each other. They could drive in the car, they don't talk, or they could go somewhere, they don't speak. No, like me and my husband genuinely like each other. Like if we fight as husband and wife, it irritates us because it's like, damn, who am I going to talk to now? So we end up talking.
No.
We have to
make up because you have no one else to talk to.
Right, we have to make up because
that's the only reason he's because at some point he's gonna need to talk to me.
We have to talk because we were binge watching a show and you're not about to watch it without me, and I'm not going to watch it without you.
Stops. You can't go on and watch the show. No, you can't. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When you so that's the thing. The thing is, I think what makes us who we are is that we're just friends. I've known him since I was 17. We didn't start dating until like after college, but I've known him for so long, and he's just my friend. He's always supported me. He's never been one of those people that were in competition with me, and I was never in competition with him. Right. He celebrates all my wins. I celebrate his wins. He wants to see me win. And we're like, if you come in our house, we are just two goofballs. Like the things we joke about, like it's like we're so immature, and I love that. Like I think our kids look at us every day. Our kids look at us and be like, "What are you doing?" Like we're just so immature in the house, and we're just friends, and so it just works. So immature.
I love that. Now, you know, I love the fact that we see women who are on Real Housewives who are intelligent, who have, you know, a thought process on how to build their career, but also what's happening in our community. When you think about the platform, Real Housewives, what made you decide that this is the platform that you're going to even partake in? And what do you plan to do with it? And what do you love that you've been able to do with the platform that if you weren't there, you wouldn't be able to utilize it for the catalyst and the change you want to see in the world?
Well, I joined the show because I'm a YOLO type of person. I believe that when I'm 90 years old, 100 years old, I'm in my rocking chair, I never want to look back on any opportunity and say, man, I wish I did that, or what would it have been like if I did that? So I'm 100% a YOLO type of person. Secondly, I am also really proud of just being able to show that women and Black women are not monolithic.
Yeah.
And we come from different backgrounds, and we do different things. I remember the first year I joined, I did my daughter's Sip and See, which was the first time the Nigerian culture was showcased on you know, national platform the way it was, and people were saying, what does it mean when you guys spray money? Just bring that aspect.
The money dance.
The money dance. And then when I joined, it was also an election year. And I did episode Wine with Wendy when we talked about the importance of voting and elections and how that really impacts the community. And I've never seen anything like that on Real Housewives before. Exactly. And so just being able to bring who I am authentically to this platform has been one of my greatest joys. You know, I think growing up, sometimes I felt that, you could not merge pop culture with politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one thing has to stay here, another thing has to stay there.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that's not necessarily true, because pop culture is intertwined with politics.
That's right.
And I have been able to show that. One day I could be on the show on Sunday going that with the girls, and then on Monday I'm on CNN going that with a Republican. And I think that that's really important. So just being able to showcase who I am and bring that level of a different type of housewife to the network has been amazing. I think my favorite moment was when I think Andy did an interview and he said just how honored he was to have me as a housewife. And that really meant a lot to me, you know, that he took stock in what I was bringing to the show and the franchise, and he was really pleased to have me as a housewife. So, yeah.
Bravo.
Bravo. Bravo. Lufio do. Haitian claps on that one.
Thank you.
What did you
I feel like I can't see. The sun is the sun is.
The sun is like, but I see you, but it's hitting you. That's all right. That's the glow.
Okay.
You know?
Oh Lord.
So, Dr. Wendy, we love to talk a little bit about what's happening in current events and get your take on it.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. So there's lots happening in the world, and I feel like usually I have like fun things to be like, what do you think about this, Y, and Z? But
tough week.
This was a tough week.
This was a horrible week.
Yeah.
It is a heavy week. So my lightest topic, which I can't even believe is my lightest topic, Young Thug. That's my
Young Thug.
Young Thug. All right, gang-related charges.
Not RICO charges.
Marijuana.
When the title check's not big enough, like, what's up? Like,
I just don't understand. I thought we made it and
started
from the bottom. Now we're here.
See, going back to leveling up. Sometimes you gotta drop a couple homies so you can stay.
I don't know about Mr. Thug. I don't know. But RICO charges are real.
RICO charges are
RICO charges are real. And so I just hope that he has his affairs in order, because they don't bring RICO charges unless they do something. So, that's all I got. Young Thug.
That's all you got. All right.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. But for those who are transitioning from one lifestyle to the other, and I think it's TD Jakes who says, for every new level, there's a new devil.
Oh, that's a word.
That's a word. So what's a key thing that someone should keep in mind when they're going to a new level? Just a very practical thing that anyone can do to help them keep going in the right trajectory.
I think you have to, not to bring up the Will Smith thing.
Okay, go ahead, bring it up.
I think Will Smith says something like, when you're at your highest, or when you're about to get a blessing, that's when the devil will come and tempt you.
Ooh, yes.
So I just think people have to take stock in that and be mindful of that, and especially someone like a Young Thug or whoever. When you reach a certain level, you've worked so hard to even be able to get to that level.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, it only takes one bad decision to take you back down.
Your one bad decision is going all the way back.
So you just have to be mindful of things. You just have to be mindful of who you surround yourself with, because the truth of the matter is, even if you have people around you, sometimes not everyone around you wants to see you win.
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes your wins reminds them of their failures.
Ooh.
So be mindful of your surroundings and make wise decisions, because it only takes one mistake for you and your loved ones to be back in the situation that you worked so hard to try to get them out of.
Yes, that is true. Since you brought up Will Smith.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, I got to ask you, brought it up.
Oh, Lord.
That was a couple months ago, but I haven't even watched there was a Red Table Talk about what occurred. So what's your general thought process on what Will did, Jada? What did you come up with? What did you take away from this scenario?
What I took away from it was Will was fed up because that came out of nowhere. But I also feel as though I wish that I feel so. Let me preface this.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely okay for a man to defend his wife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. However, I do believe that there's a time and place for everything.
Right. Right.
And that's where I stand on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that if he would have gone up to Chris afterwards and he would have said what he needs to say, Chris would have shunned him. I think he would have received it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there is a time and a place for everything. And
mm-hmm.
that's where I stand on it.
That's where you stand on it. Understood.
I had a question from someone too, by the way.
Go ahead. What's your question from someone?
All right. Shop obviously black. What do you do to remain motivated when things get tough while you're building and expanding your business?
What do I do to stay motivated? That's interesting, and I don't want to sell anyone a dream because sometimes it is hard to stay motivated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to do it despite not being motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That's the discipline part.
I was gonna say sometimes you have to work through the pain.
Yeah.
You have to work through it. But you know, my mom always told me that tough times don't last, tough people do.
Yes.
So how I stay motivated is knowing that, you know, if it's raining, it's not gonna rain forever. And one day the sun will come out, and just try to make sure that you are still standing when it does.
Mm-hmm. I know one of the things that I try to do as well, and we try to incorporate it when times are challenging, is actually a gratitude practice. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we are so focused on what's not happening correctly, because the mind is actually wired to keep you safe. So you're looking and you're channeling all the things are not going wrong, but you can actually bring that back by saying, here are the things that I did accomplish. Here's what I am thankful for. And I find that it helps to bring things into balance and into perspective, that you're going to be okay. Just get to the next step. Put the right foot forward, and things are going to be all right from there.
I also add, and that's why I think the last interaction that we had was powerful for me. Taking those speaking engagements, taking those mentoring opportunities, because sometimes it's so empowering. Like, it makes you realize what you know and what you went through and that experience and that journey that you actually had. And it goes back to that gratitude when you sort of step back and say, whoa, I've been through some things. Let me give myself my own flowers.
That's right.
So I can continue on to the next.
That's right. You have to. That's true. I'm actually, I just recently started going to a life coach. And
yes, I was going to ask you if you have a life coach.
I just started going to one, and that's what she said. She actually told me buy a journal, and each day write in my journal the things that made me happy or what I'm happy about. Because I think that also changes your perspective. And I think that if you do that in the morning and before you go to sleep, it sets the tone for you. It sets the tone for your day. That's the tone. Mindset.
Now, I'm so glad you mentioned a life coach, because I think two things that are not often talked about in our communities, or it's not a norm yet, it's becoming more discussed, is therapy and life coaching.
Yes.
What made you say, me, Dr. Wendy, I am going to get a life coach?
Because I just had so much going on, and I just needed someone to tell me, am I tripping? Or what's going on? I needed someone to hold me accountable. And so my life coach, it's really interesting because I wanted someone that also I couldn't make excuses for, because they understood. So my life coach is a woman. She is a Black woman. She's Nigerian. And
wow. Me and my friend fight about this all the time. We go back and forth. Does your life coach need to represent your race, your gender, and your culture? But I think it's interesting you're saying that then there's no excuse. For me, because this is my first time dipping my pool into this thing. I just needed it to be that person, because I need to tell her, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you get me, right? Like, you're a doctor, but you still have to make dinner for your husband, right? And she's like, right. Because she's Nigerian, so she gets it. So I needed someone who understood the stresses, the cultural stresses as well. Right. Because sometimes when I talk to my friends who are not Nigerian, I'll say things and they'll make it seem like, oh, well, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like,
we're cut differently.
Yeah, it's different. So that's why it was important for me to get someone who had. Yeah, that's why that was important for me. Same cultural norms was very important.
Nice.
Understood. All right, so we have all been saddened by what's happening with Roe Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
And when we think about what our country has gone through, even from 2020, when we think, you know, we're making progress now, there's the 15% pledge because retailers want to see Black and brown people on shelves. There are businesses who are now making concerted diversity and equity efforts. And just when we think we're starting to turn the tide, two major things are occurring right now, one being Roe v. Wade. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you know what, I really think that as a society, we have to wake up and realize how these things are going to have long-term ripple effects. I actually just did a TV segment on Roe v. Wade last week, and I just really find it disheartening where you see a lot of people speaking out against there are men. I believe that as women should have autonomy and agency over their bodies, and they should be the ones to make decisions. And then I also find it interesting that all of this seems to be happening before the new justice officially takes her seat. You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, we have to pay attention to what's going on here, and we have to pay attention to how when we start stripping away people's civil liberties, almost, it doesn't just start and end there. It's going to extend to other things. And so
and I think that's, if you could elaborate a little bit on that, because someone might say, hey, Dr. Wendy, guess what? I grew up as a Christian. I am not pro, you know, abortion or pro-life. Right. Why does this matter for my community, or why does this matter for me? Even if they are not part of this, you know, they don't sit on this side of the aisle on this issue.
Yeah, great question. For me, I grew up Catholic. I'm Roman Catholic, and I'm coming from the place where I feel like when we start being able to tell people what to do with their bodies, it's starting down a very dark path, because then that can extend medical things, that can extend even to voter registration, that could extend to mental health, that can extend to, you know, people being able to tell you how many children you can and can't have. If they can tell you not to abort, then then why can't they tell you how many children you can't have or you can have? So that's why I just think people need to be mindful. I don't think it's necessarily a philosophical argument on whether or not one is pro-life or pro-choice. But I think if we step back and realize it's about civil liberties and how society mixed with policy can infringe on your civil liberties, I think people will start to look at it differently. Meaning, if you don't want to have an abortion, then nobody's telling you to, right? Like, it's not that's the beauty of it. You don't have to if you don't believe in it, but it's the infringement piece that people need to understand, that is at the bedrock of all of this discourse is infringement.
All right, and the last thing that just happened last week, 18-year-old white male shoots and hurts and kills at least 11 African-American victims in New York Tops Friendly Market.
Yes.
What is happening?
What is happening? Well, I'll say this. I keep on turning because I'm trying to get with the sun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll say this. If that's not terrorism, I don't
know what is.
Right.
If that's not terrorism, y'all are so quick to say things of terrorism.
Health.
You know, if they look a certain way, if their name sounds a certain way. This person went in with the intent to specifically kill a group of people. He even wrote on the gun, he wrote, "This is your reparation."
Wow.
If that is not terrorism, I don't know what is. And I just need for us to stop making decisions on whether or not something is terrorism based on someone's citizenship or what it looks like. Because this is complete BS to me. That's all I have to say. I have so much more that I want to say, but I don't want to go down that road. I've had a gripe.
He's like, I'm not trying to lose my
I'm not. I have had a gripe with the U.S. government for a long time, But let's not forget about Dylan Roof when he killed the people at Emmanuel Ebenezer Church, and the police caught him unharmed, and they stopped and they bought him a Burger King meal because he was hungry after he killed people. So I feel as though we have to do better as a society, because this is getting out of hand. You can't just kill a group of people and it not be terrorism. This is specifically terrorism, and I want him
the definition.
I want him under the jail. I want the jail, then I want him under it. That's what I want.
That's it. And what is our role? What is everyone's role? Because often all of this is happening and there's a feeling of powerlessness. There's a feeling of, is there anything I can do that really matters? Is there one thing you think as a community that allies, everyone should be doing to band together to stop these atrocities?
I think people have to speak up. Let me tell you something. There's power in our voice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When George Floyd was killed, that was because people were outraged.
Yes.
People were upset. And corporate organizations, whatever, had to start putting their money where the dollar is. People have to speak up. It can't just be the people who always speak up. It can't be those. No, people have to start speaking up about it and making it such that it's a problem, because they're going to do what we allow them to do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If you allow it, if you say, oh, okay, oh no, he just killed these people. Oh man, that's sad. Let me go and see what they posting on the Shade Room. You have to speak up. If you're not speaking up, then you can't get mad. That's what I'll say. You gotta speak up.
That's it. So to end on a more beautiful note.
Yes.
Right? While all this is happening, do you have a self-care practice? And then talk to us about where Creole Essence comes in. For those who don't know, we make hair, skin, and body products with ingredients from Haiti. Talk to us a little bit about how you incorporate Creole Essence as well into your beauty practice.
Well, let me tell y'all something. Creole Essence, y'all really put your foot in them products, because when I tell you my house has been smelling all types of Haitian goodness.
Yay.
I mean, the soap, the body wash, the oil. I mean, y'all, hello. Okay, I know this is not the question you asked me, but can I just talk a little bit about the products, because I love it. You guys have like a body serum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Who thought of that?
Yes.
So I
get that hydration in.
I usually do like a facial serum, right? Like in my facial wash. But now it's like I do like the soap. I think it's the merengue soap. Is that how you pronounce it? I do the soap. I do the body wash. Then I come out, I do the serum.
Yes.
Then I do the body cream. And then I do the body oil. Honey.
Dealing with that oil.
When I tell you,
with the oil, all that moisture.
When I tell you I could slide right down my driveway, okay, I'd be so lathered up, I could just slip and slide down my driveway. But I say all that to say I'm a scent person. That's part of the reason why I started my candles on your home.
Yes.
I love scents. And so I feel like scents evoke emotion and evoke happiness. And I feel just so happy, so at ease whenever I use your products. And I'm not saying that because you guys are here. I will say this to anyone. There's a peace, there's a calmity that comes to it. There's a sense of relaxation that comes with using your products. And I absolutely love it. And so kudos to you guys for creating that. Kudos to you guys for creating something that makes the skin soft, but also soothes you in a mental way because of the smell and the aromas. I love it. It's my go-to.
Thank you. And I think you caught on what we wanted for folks to experience.
With the regimen as well.
With the regimen, she's got it down pat. Because most people take care of their face and they forget their entire body.
Oh no, you gotta take it. It is. Look, I'm married, but it's hot girl summer, okay? So you have to take care of your body. You have to look good. And it's like the perfect way. Like the sun just glistens off your body when you do the regimen. I love it.
That is awesome. But when do you feel most beautiful?
Actually, I feel most beautiful like after I usually take a shower and I'm just barefaced, no makeup, just me.
Just
like
you.
in those moments where it's just me, no pretense, just when I feel the most beautiful.
I love that. Yay! Is there anything we should have asked you that we did not?
Of course, you guys gonna ask me for spoilers for season 7. You guys
of course,
said,
you know I want
but
to.
no.
I was hoping you would just give it to us. I was trying to be shy about it, but thank you.
I got a question.
No.
Spoilers.
It's all good. No, you guys asked some amazing questions, and I'm just happy that I am able to use your products, and also happy to have this conversation with two entrepreneurs that I respect, and I've seen you guys just grow, and you guys are awesome. You deserve all of the goodness that comes your way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm still waiting for the spoiler though, Dr. Wendy.
All right. Is it true you fight with me at season 7?
No, it is not true. But did she do something to me?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Y'all know Wendy isn't fighting. I have too much to lose. I have way too much to lose. But I can't say that for everyone else.
Okay. All right.
And get back.
We gotta catch up. Now, the reunion was 4 parts.
Yes.
Is that like a record?
No, others have had 4 parts, but I don't think anyone has had more than 4 parts. Yeah. But yeah. 4 parts.
All right. So everybody needs to go ahead. If you missed the reunion, go back, get caught up. And then when does the season start?
We don't know. They don't tell us, but we'll know as soon as y'all know.
Okay.
We know what that's about.
We know what
sometime this year.
We found out about Shark Tank 2 weeks
before.
Yeah.
And they did not show us any of the editing. Do they do the same thing for you all? You don't get to see any of the editing?
No, we watch the show like you guys watch it. We get maybe like a few days before per episode, but we watch it like the same time.
All right.
Love it.
Well, we can't wait to watch you. We can't wait to cheer you on. We can't wait to see how you continue to evolve and inspire women of color, and anyone who has a dream and who's also educated and fun, right? Yeah. You don't have to be one way. We can embrace all of us. And we just want you to know you have a community here who's cheering you on, your Haitian community.
Hey, it's Haitian Heritage.
That's
there we go.
Yes, thank you guys.
Haitian and Nigerian relations, it's all working here. Thank you so much, Dr. Wendy, for your time. We really enjoyed chatting with you today.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it, and we shall chat again soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Alrighty. Bye.
Yeah. All right.